30-second different track in the modern era to host the world's best riders and sits adjacent to Lake Balaton, one of Hungary's national treasures. Can Marc Marquez power to a 10th Sunday success? It's time to race in MotoGP. Good afternoon and welcome back to Hungary. Welcome back to the 14th chapter of this year's MotoGP World Championship. Coming up in just under a couple of hours' time, we will see if Marc Marquez can continue his golden run of winning form in 2025 after he picked up another gold medal in the sprint yesterday over 13 laps. That was his 13th sprint win in the opening 14 Grand Prix, a massive 152-point lead now in the World Championship for Marc over brother Alex. It feels fantastic. It feels great, doesn't it, to be back in Hungary. First Grand Prix in this part of Central Europe in 33 years. Just our third ever Grand Prix of Hungary. The previous two in MotoGP were won by two very illustrious figures, two MotoGP legends, Mick Doohan and Eddie Lawson, who will be adding their name to that short but very exclusive list. Over 26 laps in the Premier Class race coming up later on this afternoon. Well, the Hungarian fans who have had to wait so long to see the modern day superstars in Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP tackle the circuit in their home country. Well, those who have made the trip to the new Balaton Park circuit have already had a treat. No spoilers here in the comedy box, but Moto3 was an unbelievable way to kick off this 14th race day of the campaign. Right now, though, we focus on what is our closest World Championship battle at this stage of 2025. What is turning into actually a fascinating and rather intriguing scrap for Moto2 glory this year. Manu Gonzalez is still at the summit of the standings, despite the fact that he had that hold radiator last time out in Spielberg, which saw him at DNF. That means the gap between the two Spaniards at the top of the championship is down to 19 points between Gonzalez and Cadet. Gonzalez is on the front row of the grid for this 22-lap Moto2 battle here at Balaton. Ahead of him, though, most crucially, starting from pole position, is one of his main championship rivals, Diogo Moreira, who really did reignite his championship challenge with that brilliant victory that last time out in Spielberg. And Moreira's last two finishes have been victories, and boy did he badly need to steady the ship after DNFs, no points in Sachsenring and in Brno. There were mitigating circumstances in both, but his Austrian Grand Prix victory means he's just 35 points now back of Gonzalez in the championship after Gonzalez's technical misfortune, his bad luck last weekend in Austria. A surprise name, splitting two of our title contenders on that front row, Moreira and Gonzalez. It's on to Van den Gorberg. Matt Burt-Lewis should have been in the commentary box. Jack Appleyard down in pit lane, and we'll zip straight down to Jack because he's got the World Championship leader on the front row in third place. Manu Gonzalez is with Jack right now.
Yeah, great of Manu to talk to us ahead of what looks like on paper, Manu, a head-to-head between yourself and Diogo. You've got a pace advantage, it seems, on everybody else. Will the World Championship come into your thinking in this one?
For sure we have to finish the race. After the race of Austria that we have bad luck, we will try to finish, but for sure we will try to fight for the win. Of course we have still many races to go, so we have to give everything to do a good start. It's very important. Let's try to go in front and then push.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Jack. Thanks to Manu Gonzalez. As he mentioned, the start always important, but it feels like there's extra significance on the start here in Balaton. It's a very short run down to a super tight turns 1 and 2. It's going to be vital that you avoid some early drama there, which we saw certainly in the MotoGP sprint yesterday. Moreira then on pole position. There is the vast and stunning Lake Balaton, known by the locals, known by the population here as the Hungarian Sea. Well, I think it's been a summer holiday hotspot for so many down the years, and finally it is our 32nd host venue of a Grand Prix in the modern era. Looking forward to this one, Lewis. Zonta van den Gorberg, a little bit of an outlier on the front row of the grid, but when you look at Moreira pole, Gonzalez third, we're looking at on screens right now, and Aaron Canet, the top three in the World Championship on those first two rows. This could get spicy.
Yeah, and we've got 4 of the top 5 in the World Championship on those front two rows, with Jake Dixon lining up in 5th place as well, front of row 2. But as Jack said to Manu there on the grid, it has all the makings of a head-to-head between the two riders who are first and third in the World Championship. Between them, though, on the grid via Q1 is the very impressive Zonta van den Gorberg. He's giving his thoughts now to Jack.
Zonta, brilliant job yesterday to be up here on the front row of the grid. How do you think this race is going to pan out?
Well, I'm starting around 2 fast guys. They both said they want to lead, so we'll see who takes the lead and try to follow with them.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Who takes the lead and tries to follow them? Who knows? It might be Zonta that's leading out of turn 1. Big opportunity for him from the front row of the grid, where he has started on 3 previous occasions, most recently in the Solidarity Grand Prix in Barcelona at the end of last season. Although 2025 has perhaps been a little thinner on the ground in terms of points than he would have liked. Just 14 points to his name so far this season. And we're yet to see Zonta van den Gorberg get to the checker flag of a Grand Prix this year inside the top 10. Big opportunity for Zonta to change that today. With Manu Gonzalez sitting to his right on the grid, and this man, Diogo Moreira, over to his left. Moreira perhaps answering 1 or 2 critics last weekend in Austria, who suggested that he could only win by, and only go fast by following people. Well, they all followed him last Sunday in Austria, as Diogo Moreira had far too much in the end for the Aspar duo of Dani Holgado and David Alonso. So much speculation surrounding Moreira at the moment and a potential place in MotoGP next season. LCR Honda predicted and rumoured to be the destination for Diogo in 2025, who has made so many admirers over the course of his second season in the Moto2 World Championship. And it looks like a sophomore season in this intermediate class that is going to propel him to MotoGP when, of course, we head to Brazil in 2026.
Yeah, no official confirmation as yet about that move to MotoGP next season for Moreira and LCR Honda, but it seems like it is done deal. 99.99% certain, if not 100% certain, we will see Moreira move up to MotoGP alongside Johan Zarco next season. More pressing matters for him. The first mission in this 22-lap battle will be just to make sure you get through those tight 2 first corners without any dramas. There's the aerial shot then of this new Balaton Park circuit. Impressing last time out in Austria with a first ever top 10 in qualifying in Moto2 was Colin Vile. He's gone even better today. 5th on the grid, the Red Bull KTM rider, and he's with Jack.
Yeah, what a brilliant week it's been for Colin. A top performance after the summer break in Austria, rolled on to here. Looks as though there could be a big fight for the final spot on the podium, Colin. Do you fancy being in the mix?
I think we are very competitive for it this weekend. Let's see, the pace was really good, so let's see if we can do something. Race is always different, so let's see if we can get into the mix of the podium. But even if it's a top 10, I'm still confident that we can be there. Yeah, it's already been a great weekend, so let's try to maintain the level that we had this weekend and to see if we can finish in a good spot.
Good luck.
Looking very good this weekend, and looking very good of late, isn't he? Colin Veit, the 20-year-old from the Netherlands, 8th place last time out in the Red Bull Ring, his best in Moto2 so far, his first dry race, top 10. He starts at 1 place behind Jake Dixon. Vias in the middle of 2 proven race-winning talents in Moto2. Jake Dixon 4th, Aaron Canet 6th. We just saw there Jake Dixon. A couple of crashes so far this weekend for the Brit, but he's hoping to get himself back into podium contention. He's on the grid right now with Jack.
Jake, great job yesterday to put yourself in contention here on row 2. How are you feeling ahead of it?
Yeah, feeling good. Honestly, just looking at you makes me laugh, sorry.
What have I done?
just because you know what Matt Dunn's like, he just makes me laugh about stuff. So yeah, no, feeling good, really, really optimistic for the race. Just curious to see how it's going to go, no expectations, and just roll with it.
Glad I put a smile on your face. Good luck, mate.
Always, mate, always.
Well, some grid banter clearly going on there between Jack Appleyard and Jake Dixon. Well, it certainly sounds like Dixon is in a very relaxed and upbeat and bullish mood going into this Hungarian Grand Prix. Heading row 3, well, he was one of the stars, wasn't without any question, of Spielberg last weekend. What a ride, what a season actually it's been. A first crack at Moto2 for 20-year-old Spaniard Dani Holgado on the podium last weekend. A sensational second from what was a pole position start at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Really, Lewis, it should have been a double podium as far as Aspar are concerned, because David Alonso was charging his way through the field when he crashed out of top 3 contention as well.
And much like last weekend, everything we've seen from David Alonso so far this weekend suggests that he's got podium potential if he can string it all together, which of course he could not last weekend in Austria. At the very least, it was going to be a 3rd place for Alonso, if not better, before he crashed out of the Grand Prix. Tyre information is very easy for you all to remember at home. Every single rider has gone soft front and rear.
Which will include, of course, Marcos Ramirez, 11th place on the grid. He's got Philip Salac and Adrian Fuertes for company on that 4th row. Ramirez re-upping with American Racing last weekend in Austria. He'll continue to partner Bruno winner Joe Roberts, who starts on the next row. Roberts, the Californian, he heads row 5 in 13th place, ahead of Alonso, Lopez and Barry Baltus. Equal words qualifying of the year for Belgian Baltus, who's had already so far this season 6 podium finishes. Philip Salac 10th. Of course, it's looking like he's out of Mark Vidius Racing in 2026. We know they've already signed Aaron Canet. So Salac needs some big results, you feel, over the next 2 or 3 Grand Prix. Shop window time for the Czech.
9th on the grid, we find Ayumu Sasaki, the best qualifying of his Moto2 career so far. Best by 3 places, as a matter of fact. Backing up strong qualifying, as we've already discussed, for his teammates Zonta van den Goldberg. Potentially a big payday coming here today for the RW squad, who haven't had much to celebrate so far in 2025, but both riders start inside the front 3 rows.
Points in 9 of the last 10 then for Salac. The stop-and-go nature of this tight Balaton Park circuit really did float Salac's boat pre-weekend. He said in the team press release on Thursday, "I'm coming here for a trophy. This track suits my style." Well, there is to be a trophy picked up at the end of this 22-lap race. Salac is going to have to work hard for it. He had row 4 in 10th.
Well, Salac was one of a couple of riders who came in for a track day about a month ago. The other was just on your screens there, Adrian Fuertes, and might be the best qualifying of his Moto2 career so far, but he had pace to be much higher than that.
So World Championship leader Manu Gonzalez starts on the front row of the grid. He's in 3rd place, winless in the last 4 Grand Prix since Mugello. Excellent performance yesterday in qualifying from Netherlands rider Zonta van den Goldberg, but he's potentially moving up to MotoGP next season. Will he be moving up as a Moto2 world champion here in Hungary? It's Moreira who fires away from pole.
Are we set for another championship showdown here in Hungary? Diogo versus Manu. They start together on the front row of the grid, either side of Zonta van den Goldberg. His best qualifying in Moto2. Jake Dixon lines up for his best dry qualifying since Le Mans. Colin via 5th, and Aaron Canet via Q1 up to 6th. Holgado, Alonso and Sasaki together on row 3, with Philip Salac, Marcos Ramirez and Adrian Fuertes on row 4. Fuertes has been very fast in practice. Joe Roberts through Q1 to 13th, ahead of Alonso, Lopez and Barry Baltus. Ethan Kubara in a lot of pain with his injured hand, 16th. He's got Alexis Skridge and Ivan Artola for company on row 6. Jorge Navarro next up from Danny Munoz, who's in for Denis Odchu, and Darren Binder 21st. Tony Arbolino back in 22nd, ahead of Celestino Vietti, who's had a nightmare weekend, and Albert Arenas. Likewise, Yuki Kuni, Unai Aradre, and the returning Sergio Garcia 27th. He'll be on the grid full-time again next year, with Nako and Atirak Fugapat completing your grid of 28.
Yeah, you just referenced Celestino Vietti. He's an absolute shocker here in Balaton. His lowest starting position in 74 Grand Prix since Aragon 2021. A couple of crashes here on Friday as well will certainly knock the confidence of Vietti. There's your top 4 in the championship. 19, the gap between Gonzalez and Canet. That would have been a healthier buffer coming into this round 14 for Gonzalez, of course. Unfortunately, he got that hold radiator. It was all an outcome of the horrible crash early on for his teammate, Senna Aegis, who's missing from this weekend's action after he was clipped by the unfortunate Alonso Lopez. We were expecting Aegis to be back in the saddle next time out for Dynamo intact in Catalunya. So we wish the Australian a rapid and quick recovery. There is Jake Dixon then. He's been struggling for form of late, having a 29-year-old Brit. He's been outside the top 10 in 5 of the last 7 Grand Prix. We could not have picked a more perfect day weather-wise, could we, to have our first Grand Prix of Hungary in 33 years. The weather gods have certainly been smiling down on us. Blazing sunshine, clear blue skies. Who's going to get clear track into turn 1 in this upcoming Moto2 race? Let's hope that they're all going to make it through what is a super tight first couple of corners. 28 riders starting in this Grand Prix of Hungary in Moto2. It's a real bottleneck section, a real pinch point. So yeah, let's just hope that they all manage to get safely through. Warm-up lap then about to be completed. Diogo Moreira, the Brazilian, 7th front row in his last 9, 4th pole position in the last 7. Can he be the first Brazilian rider in history to win back-to-back Grand Prix? It's never happened in any category in history. He comes to pole position. Alongside him, just his 4th front row start in his 72nd Grand Prix appearance, is the Dutch teenager, Zonta van den Gorberg. And now we have the World Championship leader, Manu Gonzalez. There he is on the number 18 machine. As we mentioned, he's winless since Mugello. He's due a victory, isn't he? The world title favourite. Green flag then has cleared at the back here in Hungary. Lights out, we're racing in Moto2 here in Balaton Park. It's a really good start from 3rd place by Manu Gonzalez. He's going to go side to side here with Moreira in that tight first corner. Van den Gorberg charges in hot there from 2nd on the grid. Gonzalez, though, has made the dream start, but Dixon goes around the outside of both Moreira and Gonzalez. What a move, what an attack by Dixon. He leads here in Hungary.
We've got 4 riders down at the back of the field. Celestino Vietti is one of them. His nightmare first visit to Balaton Park is complete. Yuki Kuni another, but there are at least another 2 riders down. Darren Binder also involved.
Dixon just looked at Gonzalez and Moreira and said, you can have the inside line, I'll go the long way around. Moreira getting really tight on the brakes into turn 5. That's aggressive. He's picked his way through on Gonzalez, but I'd love to see a replay of Dixon's turn 2 because it was off the scale good.
Manu Gonzalez would have been able to feel the front tyre there of Moreira moving past him. He was very, very close. Diogo wanting to seize the inside line and take that 2nd place. This is the back-to-back. Look at Huertas up the inside of Canet. Huertas from 12th on the grid up to 5th.
Yeah, making a move like that on the brakes into one of our 3 tight chicanes here. That was into 9 and 10. That's not easy. You have got to be backing yourself. Oh! Via out of the sea. Then he fired himself to the moon there. That was coming out of turn 11. Cost him a whole bunch of time.
Both Dutch riders were really inconvenienced by that because it was Van den Gorberg who had to shut off behind him. He's dropped to 30 places. It's been a miserable first lap too for Aspar. They started 7th and 8th. Holgado's back in 13th, only 2 places behind Alonso.
Yeah, not a great first lap as well for the rider 4th in the World Championship. Barry Baltus started 15th. He clicked through sector 3, having lost a couple of places already, down in 17th spot. This is a rider who's had 6 podium finishes already so far this season. Dixon then leads over the line through complete lap 1. A brilliant lap 1. A brilliant first 2 corners by the Brit, starting from 4th place on the grid. Gonzalez can't attack that Moreira on the brakes into that first corner. That's going to be pretty tight between Zonta van den Gorberg and Ethan Guevara further back.
Guevara's gained 9 places. He's always a rocket starter on that Boscoscuro, up to 7th place. He's in a lot of pain here this weekend. Could barely get his glove on his injured hand that he hurt back in Austria.
Yeah, up 9 spots. It's going worse for Baltus at the moment. He's now down in 19th place. A real poor first lap as far as the Fantic Racing rider is concerned. We're on board then with Moreira. Flames popping out the back of Dixon's exhaust on the Elfmark VDS racing machine. Of course, Dixon a two-time winner so far in 2025, but he's under big pressure here from Moreira. Moreira trying to find a way through. Dixon, though, holds firm in the lead.
Yeah, Boscoscuro stops well, and Dixon was able to sweep across the front tyre as Kinet's back through on Huertas. That's the battle for 4th and 5th place, with Via right behind them. Top three already breaking clear, and Kinet doesn't want to get detached.
Yeah, this is where Via lost the rear on lap 1 as he squeezed a handful of throttle out of turn 11. Now we go hard on the front end into 12 and 13, the middle of our 3 chicanes here in Balaton. There is Via just regrouping after that big scary having that fresh tyre on the opening lap.
Into the chicane we come then. This is turn 15, the right-hander, and the left of 16, and Dixon a little bit hot there into 15, which has put Moreira all over the back of him. It's all about hitting your brake markers. Ethan Guevara has a double long lap penalty. Those 9 places might have been down to a jump start.
Yeah, Guevara has a penalty then coming his way. Therefore, MotoGP stewards confirming that when it was a jump start indeed then for Guevara. Just too eager to get on with business. Oh, this close. Super tight, super close, isn't it, between Dixon and Moreira. This is some early battle, isn't it, between 3 winners already so far in Moto2 this year. Dixon versus Moreira versus Gonzalez. There's confirmation of your screens. Guevara then will have the double long lap coming his way.
The rider in 5th in the World Championship leads the rider in 3rd in the World Championship, leads the rider leading the World Championship at the moment. And Manu Gonzalez, well, I think you'll recognise that this is a weekend where Moreira is super strong. It might be one of those where you just need to bank the podium, bank the points, and just make sure that your World Championship lead isn't cut by too much. Moreira certainly swarming all over the back of Dixon. He's got more pace if he can get past him.
Yeah, he's showing Dixon his front wheel once again here. Huertas has been the early hero in Hungary so far. He was briefly up into 5th place. I think he just lost that 5th to Colin Vara. He has indeed, but Huertas started in 12th place, so he was really rapid and really aggressive on that first lap and a half to get himself up 7 spots to briefly 5th.
Yeah, Vaya now back ahead of Huertas too into 5th place. Huertas 6th, so we've got rookies at 5th and 6th in this Grand Prix. Alonso's back into 10th place ahead of Guevara. Holgado still in 12th place though. Both Aspar riders were thinking of the podium. I think those thoughts are long gone now.
Yeah, Vietti's entered the pits. He was, of course, caught up in that first lap melee with Cooney, Binder and Oradre. A thoroughly miserable experience here in Hungary for Vietti. 7 days ago, of course, he was on the podium in Spielberg. That was his 3rd crash of the weekend. Let's just look further down the field. Darren Binder's going to be involved, Cooney as well.
So Vietti is on the outside there. He gets swept up by Cooney. Binder was already down up ahead of them, and Ilan Iradre also tripped over that battle. It was Cooney into the side of Vietti, but it suddenly looked as if Binder had his own accident. Did he get caught up with his teammate Arenas? They're just coming into picture around about now. You can see the crash just to the right of picture. You can see Binder's bike, but it said on our screens there that Arenas was involved too. Did the Gratini bikes run into each other?
Moreira leads then here for the first time in Hungary. Diogo Moreira looking for back-to-back victories, then has picked his way to the front of this Grand Prix. Via, after all of his first lap drama, fair play to the rookie. He's just fired in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 141.329, and Via, well, he did that 141.329, passing Huertas as well.
Well, if Manu Gonzalez wants to win this Grand Prix, he's going to have to make a move on Jay Dixon pretty sharpish, because Moreira might well just clear off at the front of this race. Dixon with some brilliance in the first couple of corners, you have to say, getting himself to the very front of the race, but it was clear from very early on that Moreira had more pace.
Further back, we can see Danny Holgado's got up into 11th. I think Ethan Guevara probably going to be doing the first of his 2 long laps, or he has done one of them. Gonzalez then at the moment is extending his lead to 22 points in this World Championship. We're going to be checking the gap then between Gonzalez and his chief championship rival Kinet as we are about to complete this lap 4 of 22. Moreira leads it, and Moreira is getting on with it. Alonso, though, further back in 8th place, has just put in the best lap of the Grand Prix, a 141.259, and Moreira half a second faster than Dixon on that last lap. The gap between Gonzalez and Kinet just under a second.
Dixon was wide, as you saw there, coming out of turn 4. He was out on the green, and that enabled Moreira to get the run on him. So it was a bit of an error there from the Brit coming out of 4 that allowed the Brazilian him to move through into the lead, and it's a lead that he's already starting to extend out to the front.
A good day so far for Jarno Jansen's RW Racing squad. That's on to Van den Gorberg, still in 7th, having started 2nd. Yuma Sasaki also poking his nose in the fight for the top 10. So 7th and respectively right now for the RW boys.
So Alonso in 8th, he's 3.2 seconds off the race lead. That's the damage that's been done by qualifying in 8th and also having a poor start. I think he's past Van den Gorberg at the top of the picture. He is. He's now up into 7th place. The highest he could possibly get, I think, might well just be 4th from here, with the top 3 already starting to pull out a little bit of a lead. Alonso will be cursing that poor first lap.
Fire's all over the rear tyre of Canet at the moment. This is really strong pace being put in by Via. He was really strong. It felt like it was a breakthrough weekend for the Netherlands rider last time out in Austria. Certainly his best dry weekend of the season so far, and he's sort of picked up that momentum. He's picked up that ball and rolling with it right now. There's Moreira just starting to put a bit of daylight between himself and Dixon.
Oh, Dixon looked a little bit hot there into turn 15. He's really pushing hard here to try and stay with Moreira, but Moreira's just got a superior pace. Another fastest lap for Moreira on 1:41.1. Dixon and Gonzalez setting personal bests at the moment, but it is not a match at the moment for Moreira, and Gonzalez has to get on with this.
That had to happen. Gonzalez could not really have waited another couple of corners. He's just got to make sure he's squeezing Dixon wide as they tipped it left through turn 2, and there was no way through then for Dixon to retaliate. That was a move that Gonzalez could ill afford to have waited any longer for, because he could clearly see successive fastest laps from Moreira as he started to make a breakaway at the front. So fair play from Gonzalez. He had to be clinical, and he was.
The information on our timing screens regarding Guevara is that his first long lap incomplete, so perhaps he didn't quite stay within the confines of the long lap penalty loop, and I do wonder from Guevara's point of view with the pain he's in whether he might just serve his 2 long laps and park it.
So he's got to do 3.
Yeah.
Basically, so yeah, it's a tough Sunday here in Balaton for Guevara. Here is Moreira, who's looking so good once again. It was a stunning lap, 1:40.380, which got him on pole position yesterday in Q2. Further back down the order then, we've got Huertas there. He's just gone through your pitch on the 99 bike in 6, about 1 second clear of Alonso. Then it is Van den Gorberg. Sasaki's got through, hasn't he? Sasaki's on the charge here. Sasaki's up to 8th now. He's got through on Salac and Van den Gorberg.
He's now the leading RW rider. That gap that was a second between Huertas and Alonso has already been slashed down to 6/10 through the 3rd sector. We might see another very low 1:41 coming here from David Alonso. It's absolutely clear that he's got the pace to be in this battle with Moreira and Gonzalez. Had he qualified well and started well, we'll track them across the line. Alonso does a 1:41.254. He's matching the pace of Moreira.
Right now, the slowest of the top 7, unfortunately, on that last lap was Dixon, and by some margin. 1:41.2 for Moreira, 41.4 for Gonzalez. So Dixon on that lap was 7/10 slower than Moreira, and that means that Canet, Via and Co behind Dixon are going to sense maybe there's a chance for them to get on par with the Brit very quickly.
From Aaron Canet's point of view, he needs these points badly. It's been a poor weekend, really, from Aaron Canet. He did set a new lap record on Saturday morning, but he was already consigned to qualifying 1 before then, was way outside the top 20 on Friday. Clearly not a circuit that necessarily plays to the strengths of Aaron Canet. So if he can get out of here with a 4th or better, I think he'd consider that major damage limitation.
Philip Salach's personal duel with RW Racing continues to rage on. He has just taken 9th place back from Van den Gorberg.
Gonzalez had 3/10 out of Moreira in the 2nd sector of this lap, so the World Championship leader is getting his claws into this one and closing that gap down. He's essentially cut it in half to Diogo Moreira halfway through this current lap. We're on lap 7 of 22, coming up to 1/3 race distance. We know Moreira's a pretty good front runner. He proved that last weekend in Austria. Is Gonzalez going to now put him under some pressure?
Sasaki at the moment on course for what was just his 2nd top 10 in Moto2 and his 30th appearance, occupying his mind though for a long period in this Grand Prix. He's already on lap 7 of 22, just over 3rd base distance completed, or about to be completed. He's got a track limits warning, so too is Danny Munoz. So Sasaki, as Gonzalez now fires in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Big lap 7 that, wasn't it, from Gonzalez at 1:41.147. The thick end of 4/10 quicker than Moreira ahead of him.
Yeah, that's a key moment, that. As soon as he got clear of Dixon and had a clean lap on his own with no disruptions, Gonzalez put in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And as mentioned, mentioned, halved the gap between himself and Diogo Moreira. Dixon already has a track limits warning in third place, but the bigger warning, I think, is from Colin Via, who's catching him quickly. Yeah, so too is Canet. Via's being dragged along here by Canet, who's just on his peak level. Oh, that was Moreira out of the seat. Big moment on going through 5. Let's have a listen. That's what the 410's like. Just a little bit of a warning then for the Brazilian. Yeah, so Canet once again was 3/10 faster than Dixon ahead of him. You can see there clearly, just out of your picture, Canet and Via are really starting to close in on Dixon. Yeah, and up behind them is Huertas and Alonso. They're battling at the moment, and potentially with Via, there could be a three-way rookie battle for 5th place in this Grand Prix. Through the first 2 sectors, Moreira hasn't lost much time. This time it was clear from that replay where the 4/10s disappeared from his 7/10 lead down to just over 4/10. Manny Gonzalez, what will be going through his mind here? In terms of the bigger picture of the World Championship, he's gaining points in Aaron Canet, but long term this season, he cannot avoid or cannot not think about the threat that's building from the Brazilian who's up ahead of him. Yeah, Sasaki, Dixon, and now Alonso, runners in this top 10 who've got track limits warnings. Just about to say it's been a brutal weekend so far for Balaton. It's arguably his toughest weekend in what's been an incredible season of Antic racing. He's still down in 15th place, exactly where he started this Grand Prix, as Gonzalez really does close up on the brakes into that first corner. Gonzalez fancies this, doesn't he? He's just got the gap down to just over a quarter of a second. It's going to be less now, isn't it? This is a brilliant last 2 or 3 lap burst by Gonzalez. What have we seen so far this season? Diogo Moreira is potentially one of the hardest riders to overtake in Moto2 because he always snaps straight back at you. So Manny Gonzalez at a circuit that's not particularly easy to overtake is going to have to think long and hard about how he's going to plot away past the Brazilian. Yeah, and Gonzalez will be more than aware of the emerging threat once again in Moreira as one of his big title adversaries. Oh, this is lovely. Gonzalez trying to find a way through. This is going into 9 and 10. But there is no way through, but Moreira will certainly know that he's right there, right on his case. These track limits violations are already starting to have an impact on this race. Danny Munoz on the IO bike has already been given a long lap penalty for exceeding track limits too many times, and we're not even at half race distance yet. Yeah, Canet and Via are really now starting to build pressure, as you can see. Just out of shot there on Dixon. 3/10 now is the gap to Dixon and Canet. It's just crept back up to just over 4/10, so Dixon fighting hard as you knew he would do for a return to podium. Add Marcos Ramirez's name to the Track Limits Warning Club as he's got track limits to contend with. Confirmation that Munoz has to come through the long lap penalty loop for repeated track limits infringements as we move on then to lap 10 of 22. Halfway stage incoming here in Hungary. Nothing between Moreira and Gonzalez. A gap there now of almost 1.3 seconds back to Dixon. And nothing to choose between the top 5 in terms of pace. They all did 141.4s last time around. Huertas is the one who's starting to drop away a little bit. 41.7 for him last time around. He's got Alonso right behind him, and Alonso knows that he has to get past his fellow rookie quickly because the top 6 is starting to move away from him now. Tony Arbolino outside the points at the moment in 16th has just done his personal best lap of the race at 141.570, which is pace that's not far shy of the top 6 right now, is it? So just once again another real bang average qualifying performance. Marbolino is really hurting him on a Sunday. Started 22nd, but he is working his way back to point scoring contention. Gonzalez is good through that right hand of turn 8, fast old corner. You just need to ask Pedro Acosta to know how fast that corner potentially can be, and that's where he's able to gain a few meters on Moreira. We saw him already shaping up a lap or 2 ago for a move into turn 9. That looks like his best shot here. This is what we like to see. 2 Hungary top young talents going toe-to-toe, fighting for the World Championship, not just fighting for this victory here in Balaton Park are Moreira and Gonzalez. Further back, you do wonder how much longer Dixon might be able to resist this pressure that has been building for the last 4 or 5 laps or so now. Connect
who has been bringing Via along for the ride as well. This is brilliant by the number 95. He too firmly in the hunt for what would be a stunning maiden podium in Moto2.
The top two exchange 141.1s. They are pulling away quickly now from Dixon, who did a 42.1. He had a poor lap in terms of his general pace, Dixon, and that's why you can see that huge queue up behind him. Dixon was slower than Canet, Via, Huertas, Alonso, and his teammate Salach, who did his personal best last time around. So a large queue starting to build up behind the third place Boscoscuro.
Yeah, you do feel that Dixon's podium hopes might be slipping through his grasp in the next 2 or 3 laps or so. Moreira and Gonzalez braking heavy into turn 5 we go. Look at Moreira. Gonzalez having a real close look here, isn't he, at Moreira. He'll be working out, calculating, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of the Brazilian ahead of him on track.
Again through 8, he closed in on the way out of the corner, but that turn 9, 10 chicane just comes at you a little too quickly for Gonzalez. Is likely he can't really get any slipstream and get in a position to launch one up the inside. Had this been the final lap rather than the final lap of the first half of this Grand Prix, maybe Gonzalez might have launched a move.
Moreira would have been told by his Italtrans Racing team mapping 2. That's going to be all about maybe just a bit of tyre conservation, tyre management from Moreira. As we mentioned pre-race, it looks like he's certain to be part of the MotoGP fold next year with LCR Honda. Got to give a massive shout out to Dixon. He is standing firm under that big pressure from Canet and Via. The Spaniard and the Netherlands rider have just not been able to find a way through on the 29-year-old.
Alonso has now got through on Huertas for 6th place, and he's soon going to be joining that what is currently a 3-way battle for the final podium position. It will soon be a 4-way battle. Alonso, even with the overtake on Huertas, was 3/10 quicker than Dixon up in 3rd.
Munoz has completed his long lap penalty further back. More data and information being fed to Diogo Moreira. They're just telling him at 11 laps remaining, it could be 11 laps where he's going to have to do some serious defending, possibly some attacking as well here, because he can't shake off Gonzalez, who at the moment has just been keeping that gap hovering just over a couple of tenths of a second. Dixon is responding as well, to his credit, in that fight for 3rd place. He's got himself sort of stabilised around the mid-141s, and on that last lap actually Dixon was slightly quicker than both Canet and Via.
Well, it's a rider here who's leading Grand Prix, who looks set to go to MotoGP next season with LCR, and a rider right behind him who feels he ought to be going to MotoGP next season, but looks like he might just miss out in the form of Manu Gonzalez. And Gonzalez said about Moreira after he won in Austria, he said his pace wasn't particularly impressive, even though he won the Grand Prix. Let's see how impressive his pace can be today.
I'll tell you who's got some serious pace. Alonso Lopez has bit the dust, unfortunately. Is Salach in 8th. 141.195 on the last lap from Salach, the Czech rider. That was 6/10 faster than Moreira and Gonzalez, who we're looking at on screens right now. Salach said pre-weekend the nature, the characteristics of the track really suited his stop-and-go riding style. I'm coming for a trophy. It might be a little bit late, but he's got some serious mid-race pace, has Salach.
He's chasing down Huertas for that 7th place. Alonso sets his personal best. Now that he's clear of Huertas at 41.2 as he closes in still further on that battle for the final podium position.
That looks like it's been a real big get-off for Alonso Lopez. Oh, it was. That was nasty. Oh, horrible. Look, we can see, look how many barrel rolls he has going through the gravel trap. You know it's a big one when a rider is walking away and they've lost their visor. Poor washing machine crash, that wasn't it? But poor Alonso Lopez.
It's not been a happy couple of corners, that. Justin Vietti went down the corner before a turn 7 earlier on in the weekend, and his teammates now gone down in that same pair of right-handers. So Moreira's lead then is next to nothing. It's a gap of 2.2 seconds back to Dixon. You can just see in the back of the picture with Canet, Via and Alonso now right behind him. Huertas and Salach will soon be battling each other for 7th place, and Sasaki is still holding Holgado and Ortola back for 9th place in this race, which would match his career best from Sachsenring a couple of races ago.
Dixon's doing an awesome job in 3rd place. Because he has known that Canet and Via have been right on his rear tyre for so many laps. Now then, when will Gonzalez feel that it's the perfect moment He's been behind Moreira now, glued to the Brazilian's rear tyre for so long. He goes side by side once again. It is just now you feel the timing as far as Gonzalez is concerned. Does he feel like he's just happy at the moment at this stage to sit behind Moreira and then just keeping some life in those Pirelli tyres for a late attack?
Via's taking Canet. You just saw it left-hand side of the screens. Via up into 4th place now, ahead of Aaron Canet, so he's now the rider, immediately behind Jake Dixon. Alonso's now putting on some further punishment for Canet, who's going backwards here.
What's going on here with Canet? He's getting really pushed and barged around. He gives some back to Alonso as they go through the tight second corner. Has there been a mistake somewhere late on for Canet? We're about to find out. Look at the top of your picture. Via coming on through.
Yeah, Canet tried to hang on to it, didn't he? He had to do. He was better off just conceding that one.
Yeah, Canet trying to lean on Via when clearly Via had seized the initiative. He had the inside line. So, yeah, Canet's sort of a self-inflicted wound there, really, because he briefly let Alonso come through as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Alonso's back ahead of him. Look, left-hand side of your screens. We're riding on board with Canet there on the timing tower left-hand side. You can see the Aspar bike up ahead of us. So Canet now down to 6th place. And as it stands, he's losing 10 points to Manu Gonzalez, but he could lose 15 yet.
Yeah, Dixon at the moment, we should emphasise, does have Via relatively under control. They both just set identical laps on lap 13, 1:41.4s, which is just giving Dixon that sort of half a second breather. Via would have lost a little bit of time maybe as well with the move on Canet. But fascinating, intriguing, isn't it, this battle between Moreira and Gonzalez. There's not been a change in the lead for a good few laps now. You're just trying to wonder, when will Gonzalez feel that it's the stage of the race where it's time to send it? Which part of the track does he feel he's faster? Of course, you've got to make sure the move's clean. Yeah, Dixon, we've talked about what an awesome ride he was having, and he's just fired in at 1:41.369, half a second quicker than Moreira, 6/10 faster than Gonzalez. He's not out of contention. If this kind of swinging lap time continues, Dixon is going to be creeping his way back into victory contention.
Yeah, I'd love to know what's going on with Moreira here. Is he just doing a pace that he's comfortable and happy with, knowing that overtaking is so difficult, or is he starting to struggle a little bit? Maybe it's the latter, because Gonzalez pulls up alongside. He squeezes Moreira onto the outside of the racetrack. This lead is mine, he says. The World Championship leader hits the front.
Moreira, what have you got? So Manu Gonzalez has decided to pick his way through. On the brakes then into turn 5. Gonzalez hits the front. This could be really big, really significant in terms of the World Championship. We haven't seen Gonzalez on the top step of the podium since the Italian Grand Prix in Mugello 5 Grand Prix ago. And that's a drought by his 2025 standards, but he's at the front now here in Hungary.
Yeah, only one win in the last 7 for Manu Gonzalez, and Dixon's taking more time out of them on this lap. Through the second sector, Dixon's only 1.1 behind Moreira. He started the lap 1.6 seconds behind him. Look, you can see from the overhead shot, the chase group, they're well and truly chasing.
Yeah, and that's the vital thing. Dixon's pace is being matched as well by the likes of Via, Alonso, Canet and co. So they're all getting sucked back towards this podium battle as well. So Gonzalez then has posed the big question to Diogo Moreira. I'm going to lead. What have you got? Can you run my pace now then? Was Gonzalez just having to keep his powder dry and make sure he was managing the tyres, keep some life in the Pirellis for this late attack? Well, we are about to find out. Lap 16 underway at 22. Gonzalez over the line, led by just over 3/10.
Moreira's back in the 42s now. Of course, that did include a moment where he was passed into turn 5, which wouldn't have helped him go any quicker, but he could have some big problems here yet, Moreira. If he continues to lap at that sort of pace, he might be struggling to hold on to 2nd place, never mind chasing down Gonzalez. And with Canet now back in 6th place, is this potentially a decisive, seismic day in the Moto2 World Championship battle? Is this the day that Manu Gonzalez truly seizes control of it?
Canet's really struggling to form of late, isn't he? There's only been the one win for Canet in opening 13 Grand Prix. He's certainly not going to be winning today, as he's been podiumless in the last 3. It's not really championship winning form, isn't it, right now, as far as the 44 is concerned. This could be a real statement victory as far as Gonzalez is concerned. Of course, the DNF last weekend in Austria, courtesy of that unlucky hold radiator, he was punished big time by Moreira's victory, but you feel that this would be Gonzalez just wresting back a little bit of that momentum if he's able to hold on for the win here today.
Ethan Guevara has pitted and retired, by the way. I suspect the pain just way too much for Ethan Guevara. He's now retired from this Grand Prix. We're looking at another former Aspar Moto2 world champion in David Alonso, who said he got the desire to get a little bit ahead of him last weekend when he was chasing after victory in Austria. If he stays patient here, he might yet still be rewarded with a place on the podium.
Further down, Vanden Gorberg, who started an excellent second. He's been going the wrong way as Alonso on the 80 bike has just set a 1:40.964, and now he's got through quickly on his former Moto3 foe Via, and now this is Alonso charging towards the podium here. This has been sensational pace. He did this, didn't he, last time out in Spielberg, and they got a little bit carried away. They got a little bit impatient. I'm sure that's going to be at the back of his mind right now as he now really tries to hunt down Dixon.
Fair play to Moreira, because until Alonso went over the line, Moreira had responded with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He'd suddenly pumped in a 1:41.137. We've already described him this year as quite tenacious in Moto2. He never knows when he's beaten, and he ain't beaten yet.
That is some lap, isn't it, by Alonso? 1:40.964. Of course, he's pretty close with Jake Dixon. They were allies previously for Aspar in Moto2 and Moto3. They've got a real tight relationship. Oh, Moreira. He's just making sure, well, Gonzalez will hear that bright blue Italtrans racing machine behind him at the moment. There's no room for error right now as far as Gonzalez is concerned. He's certainly getting no respite from Moreira.
The value of track position around this kind of circuit is so important. Gonzalez, I think, will be much happier being where he is now than following Moreira. You've got the track position. It's up to Moreira now to force the issue, to find a way back through into the lead of this Grand Prix. And he's got, when we come across the line now in a corner's time, 5 more laps to find a way back through on Manu Gonzalez.
Hard to believe with Dixon's performance so far in this Grand Prix that he was 20th on the grid and 20th at the checkered flag 7 days ago in Spielberg, in what was arguably one of the toughest Grand Prix of his entire career. He has been quickly transferred. Just shows he said pre-weekend it's just time to turn the page, forget about Austria. This is a clean slate, blank canvas, let's just try and move on, and he certainly has done. On board then with Gonzalez as he powers now through the left-hander of turn 4. Just one of 2 short straights now as he's out of the seat big time, and that was a massive moment, wasn't it, for Manu Gonzalez. He's going to just about hold on to the lead, is he, as they break now hard on the front end into turn 5. Well, how hard is he stressing that rear tyre? That's how hard.
He is so super cool normally, but that will have caught his attention. He's now got some problems because Moreira's got to run at him through 7 and 8. He's got to have a big opportunity now into turn 9. Does Moreira see this as the big opportunity? Does he see this as the moment that he has to attack Gonzalez while he's vulnerable?
Yeah, do Dixon, Alonso and Via also see this as their opportunity to get themselves back into victory contention? I think Moreira had no chance. Look at that moment there for Gonzalez on the exit of 4. He was on the curbs, he was out the seat. It was like a bucking bronco, wasn't it, underneath the Spaniard? I just wondered whether Moreira wasn't able to attack, keep the momentum down on the brakes in the turn 5, because he had to just chop the throttle himself as Gonzalez was out of shape ahead of him.
And Gonzalez was able to protect the inside line too into turn 5. It cost the leading pair 4/10 of a second initially, but through the third sector, Dixon has taken 6/10 out of the top 2. We've got a 5-rider fight for victory now.
On the back of the pack to the front of the pack potentially right now then for Dixon in the space of just 7 days. Who'd be a professional Grand Prix motorcycle racer? Over the line we go then. 4 laps to go as Alonso comes from a long way back, and he's got the inside line on Dixon. He levels the brick then in the heavy braking zone for turn 1. We saw this, didn't we, last weekend in Spielberg. Alonso's late race pace was sensational. He just made that crucial late mistake going into turn 9. He's well on course here for his second Moto2 podium.
Was he 11th? Was he on the first lap after he had that poor start from 8th on the grid? If he comes through to win from there, he will banish the myth that he can't overtake in Balaton Park.
He could win this. But now he's got a bit of clear track ahead of him, having got through quickly on both Via and Dixon, up into P3 from Alonso, who produced so many classy performances in Moto3 over the last couple of years. Well, this is pure class once again from the Colombian as he starts to charge his way through to Gonzalez and Moreira.
Yeah, and that will occupy Moreira's mind, of course, and it might be good news for Gonzalez if Moreira has to pay a little bit of attention
14th place fight. Then now, Gonzalez. Look how much Alonso's put into Dixon in that battle for third place. That's going to be an advantage that he's got about over half a second. It is over half a second going through sector 3. So having got through on Dixon, he's dispensed quickly of the Brit.
Yeah, Dixon lost the rear coming out of turn 12 and 13. The penultimate chicane on the lap and lost all his momentum on the way. Out. We've got riders on the very limits of their tyres here, and Alonso might be about to mug both of the championship front runners here.
Oh, this is unbelievable by Alonso. It's David versus two Moto2 Goliaths at the moment at the front of this Grand Prix. Gonzalez from Moreira as they now power through turn 4. This is where Gonzalez had the big scare a couple of laps ago. There is no question, make no mistake, Alonso, he could win this battle here in Hungary.
When David Alonso fixes his problems on new tyres, Moto2 has got a major problem in the form of the Colombian. That is his big weakness still in his rookie season, which is why he can't qualify at the front, and that's why he's weak in the first lap or two of the Grand Prix. Once he's onto older tyres, as you can see here, he is unmatched in Moto2.
Catching Moreira and Gonzalez is one thing, passing them is another, particularly around arguably the hardest circuit on the Grand Prix calendar now to make moves. Alonso, though, has made light work of getting through up into third place. And this, for so long here in Balaton, has been a two-rider showdown for the victory. Well, that is now 3.
Tell you what, the Aspar team will be cheering on David Alonso, but someone else will be cheering him on is Aaron Canet, because he can really do with Alonso here, getting in amongst this and taking what would be 4 points away from Moreira and potentially 5 points away from Manu Gonzalez, because it's a damaging day at the moment for Canet, and his only hope here is the 80 of Alonso.
Gonzalez has been very good in that last chicane through 15 and 16. He starts clawing time away from Moreira, and here comes Alonso once again from a long way back. He made that move on Dixon. Surely he's going to run in hard. Oh, he almost wipes out the front. He is all action, isn't he? Spectacular to watch is David Alonso, and he has got through. Moves on Dixon into the first corner. Carbon copy attack now on Diogo Moreira. Alonso up into second. One more victim left for him.
Has he got time though? He's got a lap and a half to catch and pass the World Championship leader in Moto2. And of course the team will only have this opportunity to tell Manu Gonzalez that it's the number 80, not the number 10 that's right behind you.
He's all in. This is win it or bin it for Alonso. He nearly binned it on 40 at turn 1 at the start of this lap. Is he going to win it? This has been nothing short of sensational by the rookie in just his 14th start in Moto2. Yeah. Wow, just wow.
The team are telling him, look, the opponent you need to be worrying about is not Diogo Moreira any longer, it's David Alonso. And Gonzalez will be reading that in his dashboard and saying, what? He's doing 141.1s on the penultimate lap?
Yeah, just like Marc Marquez and Aldeguer in MotoGP in Spielberg last weekend. Marc was caught by surprise when he realised there was an outsider posing some big threat. Alonso, I don't think anybody really thought, having started this Grand Prix down in 8th place, he was outside the top 10 early on, he was going to be figuring in this battle.
We've seen already, haven't we? The place where Alonso attacks is into turn 1. He passed Canet there, he passed Moreira there, and he is right on the rear tyre of Manu Gonzalez. One more lap for the championship leader to hang on.
Last lap underway, and it's a massive lap in terms of the championship. Alonso is going to be close enough to make his signature move on the brakes into the first corner. While he's trying once again, he almost tucks the front going down into turn 1. Through 2 we go. He's trying to get on the inside now of Gonzalez, and no way through there. He's getting inventive. He's trying to get creative here, isn't he, Alonso? Sasaki has crashed out late on here in Hungary. But it's Gonzalez, it's Alonso, it's Moreira in for the win here in Balaton.
Moreira will be hoping that Alonso does make a move, because it might well help him in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. For so long in Moto3, David Alonso was the master of final lap combat. Can he prove that again to take his first Moto2 victory?
How on earth is he getting anything out of that Pirelli front tyre right now? He has used and abused it to its absolute maximum. If Moreira's going to win this Hungarian Grand Prix, here comes Alonso. He's going to hit the front for the first time on this last lap. He's getting super tight through those chicanes. Gonzalez is going to drop back down to third place. He got it all wrong going into 9 and 10, pushed a little bit offline by Alonso's move, and David Alonso once again is going to potentially be the Alonso in Moto2 for the first time, as he now leads into 12 and 13.
This kid is off the scale good. He is closing in on a maiden Moto2 victory at a circuit that is one of the toughest on the calendar for overtaking. He was 11th on the first lap. He's about to end the Grand Prix as a Moto2 winner.
Gonzalez is gone.
Oh, he's
not going to win. Alonso's made a massive mistake though, going into the final chicane. One corner left. Was he on the green? Potentially going through that final chicane. Look at this, now they go three abreast. Oh, there's contact between Gonzalez and Moreira, and out of all of it, it is David Alonso who wins a heart-stopping Moto2 race here in Balaton Park. Unbelievable.
I think he'll be fine, by the way, if they're going on the green on the final lap, because he clearly lost time. He nearly lost the lot, but David Alonso has truly arrived in Moto2, the record breaker in Moto3 over the last couple of seasons. He is now an intermediate class winner.
Alonso goes ballistic in Balaton. That was amazing. First Colombian to win a Moto2 race. How on earth did he do that? A lovely move to get second from Moreira, and then he was super aggressive on the last lap. One of the best last laps you will ever see. Dixon late on at the first corner to get third. A lovely move to get second from Moreira, and then he was super aggressive on the last lap. One of the best last laps you will ever see in Moto.
Blew it into 15 and 16, which then put Moreira and Gonzalez all over him. They were 3 wide coming out of the final corner, and then Gonzalez had to shut off, otherwise Moreira was going to put him into the pit wall. This was the moment where it nearly all fell through Alonso's grasp again. Into turn 15 we go, and he's sailing way wide, just keeps it inside the curve. If he shortcutted that, he would have lost it all. Moreira had to shut off. Gonzalez was on top of the pair of them, and somehow, with 0.3 of a second covering the top 3, as Moreira and Gonzalez make contact across the line, Alonso takes an unbelievable victory.
He deserved it. He deserved that one. That was right out of the top draw. Moto2 at its very, very best. Absolutely stunning spectacle. What entertainment. Are you not entertained after watching that unbelievable battle? He's got a bit of time for some off-roading as well to celebrate what was his first Moto2 victory. Oh, this kid, as always, given us a sense that he's something extra special. He's a superstar talent, and he's done it once again. A record-breaking winner last time out, 2024 in Moto3. 14 wins he took as he decimated the field in the Lightweight World Championship last year, and he has picked off late on 3 of the best Moto2 riders in history. Dixon, Moreira and Gonzalez. Just phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. Moreira takes second, which is a big result for him in terms of the championship. He is ahead of his closest rivals in the standings, both Gonzalez and Canet, who limped home in 6th place. Good ride that by Moreira. But David Alonso, take a bow. Yet more history going the way of the Colombian in a first Hungarian Moto2 race we've ever witnessed. One which will live with us for an awful long time. Simply stunning.
He's 19 years of age, and that is already his 19th Grand Prix victory. The first 18, of course, of those in Moto3. They'll be loving that one in South America, won't they, in the very early hours of the morning, I guess. They'll be just waking up and having their breakfast back in Brazil. And in Colombia, a South American 1-2 with David Alonso pipping Diogo Moreira, who did somehow take some points off Manu Gonzalez. That's the damage from the contact. That was out at the final corner, meters from the finish line.
Yeah, how close do you want it? 0.3 of a second between our top 3. This was out of the final corner. Big contact between both Gonzalez and Moreira. Oh, he'll feel like he's got short change on that last lap. Gonzalez, he was leading on the start of that lap 22. He comes over and takes the checker flag in third place. He'll be frustrated, he'll be disappointed, but take nothing away from David Alonso. Just phenomenal. What a rider, what a talent. You know, to immediately as well recover from the big setback of 7 days ago, where he dumped it out of a nailed on podium last time out at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. Always great, isn't it, to see a rider capture his first win in a new category, and he's going to enjoy this one. Well, he was a serial winner. He won for fun in the Moto3 World Championship, and he's going to certainly enjoy the moment as it starts to sink in. David Alonso, a Moto2 Grand Prix winner in a classic here in Balaton.
You can see why they call him the baby goat, can't you? Because that was a performance that any of the goats of Grand Prix racing would be happy to claim as their own. His first Moto2 victory. He is the 8th different winner of 2025. In terms of the World Championship, which kind of feels like a secondary story today, Manu Gonzalez does extend his World Championship lead to 25 points over Aaron Canet. He basically wins back the points that he lost last weekend in Austria with the stone through his radiator. Diogo Moreira is now 6 points behind Canet and 31 off the World Championship lead. It is still very much a three-way battle in the World Championship. This man in the end will be, I think, buying David Alonso a drink later on to thank him for taking the points away from Moreira and Gonzalez. David Alonso doing him a major turn today. Canet does hang on to second place in the World Championship, and in many respects limited the damage. He came across the line in 6th place. What an incredible finish. What an incredible day we've had already in Moto2. And well, for so long he was in second, and then for so long it looked like he was going to come out of this as the winner. In the end, he has to finish in third place. Outside of the first 2 or 3 laps when Jake Dixon was leading, he wasn't out of the top 2, was he? Until the very last lap. And clearly not particularly pleased with Diogo Moreira's defence of second place on the run to the finish line. But they are racing for the ultimate prize in Grand Prix racing. They're racing for a World Championship. And Diogo Moreira was not going to let that second place go easily. But David Alonso, the kid, has arrived big time in Moto2. And the rookie season, which started with injury, he injured his shoulder all the way back in pre-season testing, was nowhere near fully fit when the season began. He's now a winner. The World Championship lead, though, still belongs to Manu Gonzalez. Third for him today. He's talking to Jack.
Well, Manu, another brilliant ride. You had that huge moment with 5 laps to go, and then to be leading on the final lap. Just talk us through your emotions right now.
Well, it was a very difficult race because this track is so narrow, so one small error, you lose a lot of time there. In the last laps, it was difficult for me to brake and stop the bike, so this was difficult then for the battle. No, but yeah, I'm happy. I was still in the podium in a track where we suffer. To be here is always a good thing, but we need to continue working to improve in this area. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Let's keep working and let's keep pushing.
Top job, well done.
Thank you.
That's all you can do. Keep working, keep pushing. Not a bad day by any stretch of the imagination as far as Manu Gonzalez is concerned, but to finish third in a Grand Prix where you start the last lap leading, I think there's plenty to ponder, contemplating a case of what might have been 16, though, very, very important points in the World Championship, adding to podiums in Thailand, Argentina, Qatar, Jerez, Le Mans, Mugello and Assen. Well, it was an unbelievable last lap. It went all the way down to the wire. Diogo Moreira second from pole position in the Moto2 Classic. He's with Jack.
Diogo, another top ride. You close in on Manu in the World Championship. Firstly, you were right behind him when he had that massive moment, and when David ran wide into the final chicane, did you think all of my Christmases have come at once?
Yeah, I think we make the perfect strategy. At the beginning, I was pushing a lot to try to make a gap at the beginning, and was I think the key for make this for make this race. So we are happy. I'm happy. And now we need to enjoy and keep like this because we have 8 races to go. So let's continue.
Great ride, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, another great ride. We might be looking back on this 20 points he's collected here in Balaton as a pivotal moment in Diogo Moreira's championship charge. Still third in the standings, but he's taken another massive chunk of points out of Connect. Just 6 now, the gap between those two in second and third in the rankings. Not a great day for fourth place, Barry Baltus. Baltus finished 12th at the checkered flag. He has to do a long lap penalty in that as well, but we're about to hear from what I'm sure is an ecstatic, a jubilant David Alonso, with one of the best Moto2 rides you will ever see from outside the top 10 to his first victory in Moto2, the first Colombian ever to do so. He's with Jack.
David, you are a Moto2 winner for the first time, and wow, did you have to do it the hard way today? Outside of the top 10 on the first lap, how on earth did you manage to pull that off?
Honestly, to be here long time ago, for me it's incredible because I am working hard, not easy moments, a lot of days crying alone, but then it's what we love, this sport. One day we cry, but the next day we want to get on the bike again. So this race, I do a really bad start. I need to know how to make good start with the Moto2. I don't know how, but I just was so focused on the race. Like, I don't know how many laps were. I just see when it's 3 laps to go and 1 lap to go. I was like really focused on myself, like living my own dream, just trying to not make mistakes. See the guy in front, not two more riders, and in the 2 laps to go, I see that today could be the great day. So I say, let's go for it. Let's put all in, and yeah, here we are. I don't know what to say. Well, one thing, Javi, reserva mesa que nos vamos a Chushi 99. Thank you so much, all people.
Congratulations, David.
I love David Alonso. I absolutely love David Alonso. What a rider, what a character, what a last lap he produced. What a 22 laps he produced. I'm sure you enjoyed it watching at home. The crowd were on their feet from lap 1 to lap 22 here at Balaton Park. Just so much drama, so much happened for us to cover off on that final lap. This was the key moment then into the 9-10 chicane. He was leading, wasn't he, on Manu Gonzalez. Moreira came through into second place, a second which he would hold on to. This was all the drama coming out of the final corner. That's how close it got for Gonzalez. Almost had his front tyre washed out there on that short drag to the finish line. But just look what it means to the Aspar team. They know how good David Alonso is. They've lived his dream throughout Moto3, and there he kisses the fairing, kisses the number 80. Colombian fans here in Hungary, well, they certainly enjoyed their afternoon in the sunshine as David Alonso, the first Colombian to win in Moto2. First South American, what a story that is, the first South American 1-2 in Moto2 history. Colombia leading home Brazil. There's going to be a few parties, we know, in that part of the world moving into Sunday.
Well, as mentioned earlier on, it was far from the easiest start to his Moto2 career for David Alonso. Of course, moved into this class with so much expected of him, given the way he wrapped up the Moto3 World Championship and won everything in sight in the second half of last season. We didn't see him finish in the top 10 of a Moto2 race until he nearly won at Silverstone. Finished on the podium. He dislocated his shoulder in January. He didn't really understand the fastest way to tackle Moto2 in the early parts of the season. Was finishing out
which is all.
Alonso becomes the 60th different rider to win in the Moto2 World Championship history. The first rookie to win in Moto2 since Pedro Acosta. He is going to be one of the big contenders for title glory in 2026, isn't he? No wonder he's got a massive smile on his face. That was a brilliant introduction. Here in Balaton for Moto2, the 8th closest top 15 in Moto2 World Championship history, with David Alonso your winner.
What a final lap. What a rider David Alonso is. He takes his 19th career win, but crucially his first in Moto2. Diogo Moreira and Manuel Gonzalez on the podium after they made contact meters from the line. Jake Dixon came to within a second of winning in the end in 4th after his amazing start via 5th from Canet Huertas, Salach, Holgado and Ivan Ortola. Points from Marcos Ramirez, Barry Baltus despite a long lap penalty. Zonta van den Gorberg, who started from the front row, faded to 13th. Albert Arenas from deep on the grid 14th, and Tony Arbolino takes a solitary point ahead of the returning Sergio Garcia. Manuel Gonzalez's World Championship lead then back out to the 25 points he was before Austria last weekend. Diogo Moreira is 6 points further back. 31 covers the top 3. Constructor standings, Kalex on to 333 points today. 4th place was the best it got for Poskoscuro today, courtesy of Jake Dixon. Team standings, Fantic Racing 29 ahead now of Intact GP, although it wasn't the best day for the current series leaders. What an amazing finish that was in Moto2. MotoGP has got a lot to live up to. We'll start our build-up to the Hungarian Grand Prix in around 30 seconds' time.
a 33-year wait, Hungary's passionate fans are ready to roll on their MotoGP heroes at the new Balaton Park circuit. Flanked by the sunny slopes of the Balaton Highlands, picturesque lakeside towns and beaches galore make this part of Western Hungary a stunning summer holiday destination. Who will be the hero in the Grand Prix of Hungary? It's time to race in MotoGP. 4.08 kilometres in length, 2.53 miles, 17 corners, 7 of them right, 10 of them left. That is the new Balaton Park circuit in Western Hungary. First Grand Prix of Hungary since 1992. Hosted World Superbikes here in July. A tight first sector. In two, there was dry in the 13 yesterday. Good overtake down on into two. Different host. The GP all began 6 long ago. New track on the course was all the way back in 21, 9, 10, 16. So the first MotoGP race action in over 3 decades took place in yesterday's 13-lap sprint. Drama in the tight first corners. Fabio Quartararo on the dirty inside part of the circuit just avoided Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marco Bezzecchi. Unfortunately, he did collect Enea Bastianini, who further on a dramatic opening lap then took out level. Untouchable once again was the 32-year-old Spaniard as he racked up sprint win number 13 of the season so far. And today, as we go double the distance, and Marc Marquez hones in on his 7th successive double victory. He's 152 points clear in the MotoGP World Championship, starting from his 8th pole position of the campaign, 74th in his Grand Prix career. A win here this afternoon will be already his 10th of this incredible first season with the factory Ducati team, and that would be for the 3rd time in his career in MotoGP that Marc has won 10 in a single season, closing in on his own all-time record of wins in the Premier Class, 13 all the way back 11 years ago in 2014. It's 2014, the last time we saw Marc Marquez in such golden winning form. It's 13 wins in a row now for the number 93. Last time he was beaten was on the Sunday race action all the way back in late May now at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Can he win on what is yet another anti-clockwise track? 33 of his previous 71 victories have come on anti-clockwise circuits where he has been so strong down the years, has Marc Marquez. Big favourite coming into this 26-lap Grand Prix of Hungary. He's on a front row which features 2 Italians, Marco Bezzecchi and Fabio Di Giannantonio. He was joined on the sprint podium yesterday by 2 Italians. It was an excellent Saturday for Pertamina Enduro VR46 Racing, as Di Giannantonio took 2nd place ahead of his teammate Frankie Morbidelli. Good Saturday as well for the factory Hondas, as both Luca Marini and Joan Mir, for the first time in the sprint era, we had 2 Hondas finish inside the top 6. Marini 4th, Joan Mir in 6th place. Under blazing sunshine, under nigh on perfect conditions for this Michelin Grand Prix of Hungary. We'll be racing in about 40 minutes time to see if anybody can stop Marc Marquez from taking another giant leap towards MotoGP glory. In the company of Matt Burton, Lewis Sotheby in the commentary box with Jack Appleyard down in pit lane. So far, Lewis, there's no spoilers in this commentary box, but there's been much anticipation, much hype around our first trip to Hungary in over 3 decades, and what we've seen so far, we have not been disappointed. Brilliant Moto3 action, brilliant Moto2 action, both decided on the last lap at the last corner. let's hope for more of the same in MotoGP.
We'll be keeping our fingers crossed. Two unbelievable Grand Prix to bring you already, but the main event is still to come. The MotoGP battle coming up over 26 laps of Balaton Park, and well, there are no foregone conclusions in Grand Prix racing, even if Marc Marquez has made it feel differently in recent times. The sprint yesterday saw all sorts of lap one drama. Marc Marquez was inches away really from being taken out himself into turn one, so there is still plenty for Marc Marquez to overcome here today if he's to extend that incredible winning run, as Hungary gets set to see the main event of MotoGP go racing here over a Grand Prix for the first time since 1992.
Marc Marquez has not won 7 Grand Prix in a row since 2014, of course, where he opened his account that year with victories in the opening 10 Grand Prix. That could be the 22nd different circuit he has prevailed at in MotoGP. One rider, perhaps the only rider that really, he certainly felt like the closest challenger to Marc throughout the weekend, until this happened in qualifying yesterday. Monumental get-off for Pedro Acosta. And of course, a thumbs up from our brilliant camera operator Joao, who met to the garage. It's another thumbs up. Let's hope his Sunday afternoon is a rather more trouble-free affair than his Saturday morning here in Hungary. Full respect though to Red Bull KTM for inviting Joao to their